welcome everyone. This is gonna be a really loose episode on whatever the fuck this is. This is gonna be episode 4. We didn't know that this was gonna be episode 4 just because there was a different schedule this week, but that got postponed to next week, so we're having another guest next week. But thank you for coming in and saving the week. I have proposed to myself that I want to make sure that every single week I get one of these episodes out, no matter what kind of length they have and no matter what kind of content they have. It doesn't necessarily have to be like life-changing, inspiring content, just sometimes I have stuff that I want to get out of my mind, and I know that she does as well, and so we hop on the mic and talk about it. And today we happen to have a few things that we wanted to talk about, but before that, I wanted to point out 2 different things. One, this is the very cool mug that I got, and it has Creative Juice written on it. And if you know me, you know that creative juice can mean different things for me at different times. But it definitely has to do a lot with coffee, and it definitely has to do a lot with other kind of beverages. Sorry, I had a slight hesitation. I'm not sure if we're currently running on the microphone, so I'm just going to take a 1 second break. You see, I'm telling you, this is gonna be a really loose episode. I'm gonna take a second to check that the microphone's actually working, and then we're gonna be back. So it turns out that we're all good, and I'm also going to start facing you again, so I don't have a conversation with the microphone. Alright. So what I was going at was this new mug that I have, and if you're only listening and you're not seeing, then too bad. But I have a new mug that's called Creative Juice, and like I said, sometimes it's coffee and sometimes it's different things. Now, could be tea, it could be mate, for those that do know what I'm talking about. So it could be anything. So this is one of the things that I wanted to point out. And we're continuing on our series of new beers, and since it's October and we're around Oktoberfest, we're close. I wanted to bring out the local brewery. It's Revolution Brewing. I think it's from Illinois. I'm sure I don't know if it's from Chicago. It's from Chicago.
Made in Chicago.
Yeah, made in Chicago. And it's the Oktoberfest German style lager. And it sounds something like this. There we go. That's 3. That's all. Every single episode except for the last one have had a beer opening moment. And it also sounds something like this. It's silent. It's smooth. It's German. It's what it's supposed to be. It has a very nice color, and it's delicious. It has a little bit you can taste a little bit of honey in it. So if you can get some, definitely get some. They're not paying me anything yet. But Revolution Brewing, if you see this, I definitely love this. And if you wouldn't mind sending me another case, that would be also cool. So first order of the day, every Sunday morning, or in the weekends when we wake up, we like to watch Scooby-Doo. I'm gonna be honest, as every other adult does, we like to reminisce of our childhood moments and watch What's New Scooby-Doo. And I can tell you that after watching 25 episodes, 30 episodes in the span of the last few months,
an excessive amount of episodes,
I can only tell you that there's a lot of questions that come up for me, okay? There's a lot. But like I said, this show is not always going to be educational. Sometimes it's just asking about the real stuff in life. Some of you said, hey, you got to talk about real life shit. Well, this is real life shit, okay? We wake up in the morning on Sunday mornings and you watch cartoons as if you're a kid because it's quarantine. What the fuck are you going to do? And, Scooby-Doo's on Netflix, so it's an easy tap. And then you start wondering, how do these motherfuckers make money? I'm talking hear me out, the Scooby-Doo gang. It's a bunch of teenagers, right? Apparently, and maybe some of them early young adults.
They're all supposed to be in high school.
Okay, Freddy's in high school, bro. Freddy looks like he's 40. Anyways, I even wrote a sticky note. It says theory of how the Scooby-Doo gang makes
so you don't pay attention
money
when the episodes play, and they always disclose that it's like one of their family members.
Bro, they have 300 episodes. How many fucking family members afford to host them?
Well, there's 4 of them, and each of them have like uncles and aunts and grandmas and grandpas and blah, blah, blah.
How many fucking uncles and grandpas and grandmas do you have that we can stay at around in the United States? Count them. Like, do you think you have like 20?
Yes.
20 different places.
Yes.
That's fucking,
Different
bro.
houses.
That's so cool. I didn't know that. You didn't tell me.
Houses? Yeah, I mean, there's enough family out there. I probably wouldn't choose to, but...
That's fucking crazy. So, okay. Alright, that solved the housing problem. Like, that's how they go to different places. But it still doesn't make sense. How do they get money for food, for gas, for clothing, which seems to be the same fucking thing every day? How do they pay for all those things, you know? Like, I know it's supposed to be a cartoon and whatever. I'm not trying to like be that asshole that I was like, oh, you know, but like I'm really like trying to make sense, you know. There always have to be some sort of sense. So I came up, these are 3 things, all right? So what are 3 theories on how the Scooby-Doo gang, or the mystery squad as Mark called it, so what is the ways that they make money? The first one I said was the Scooby Snack startup. Alright, so many people have questioned before if Scooby Snacks were like edibles, because, you know, whenever they try to get Scooby and Shaggy, the biggest potheads on that show, to do stuff, they never ever want to do shit unless they're offered the Scooby Snacks, right? We know that they love eating, but really for like 2 Scooby Snacks you would risk going into like honey houses? No, they're obviously fucking edibles. They get high as balls and they don't give a shit, and then they can go finally explore these haunted houses. That's a theory. My theory is that not only are they edibles, but listen to this, they're selling them. It's like a fucking startup. Like, you see them around the world. There's Scooby Snacks around the world. Like, that's how they do it. And they just like, yeah, we're gonna make edibles for fucking dogs, and that's it. Now they're fucking balling.
They probably
solving mysteries for free.
Trade like they do at Burning Man.
Yeah, and like I'm not trying to shit on them. Like, they're doing a lot of pro bono work, if you ask me. But you know, I'm just trying to figure it out. Okay, so my second theory is that they have a massive inheritance.
Probably.
As in, like, somebody's loaded, and it's for sure Daphne. Like, she's just fucking loaded, and she's like just funding this.
I'm pretty sure Daphne's mom was like a rich, or her aunt was like a rich movie star.
Right? Do you know what these new ones make? They make me want to watch the old Scooby-Doo shows, and I don't know if people can like feel this, but I think like the old ones had a lot of the initial story, and I feel like that's cool. But I didn't know that. Yeah, I think a massive inheritance. Like, I just feel like for them to be just traveling around and like, yeah, whoops, something smells fishy, let's solve a fucking mystery. I don't know. It's like you could have many other things to do with your time, you know, other than solving mysteries for free. So I'm just saying,
they
like,
are just a bunch of kids getting into shit that's not even their business, you know?
Yeah. Maybe Shaggy's like a day trader. For sure. He's like a fucking day trader.
He spends all of his time with a dog.
Okay, which brings me to my third one, which is the one that I'm definitely leaning towards, is that fucking Shaggy and Scooby, the 2 biggest potheads on the show, they're holding a whole fucking ship dealing drugs. Like, they're selling weed legally. Like, they always seem to go into places that are like Colorado, they're like Jamaica. Okay, you're not allowed to smoke in Jamaica, but you know, they go to Jamaica. Like, they've been
everywhere, though.
They've been everywhere, but like, look at Shaggy and Scooby, bro. Like, I mean, what else do they do but eat and sleep? And what are those signs of being a pothead?
It's just part of the show. It was made in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
60s?
Yeah, exactly. They're in a van
that's when
with flowers on it.
It was the age of that time. I mean, just kind of carried on, and now it's.
And I love them. Like they're the characters. They're why the show works. Mm-hmm. But I definitely think they're drug dealing. Like I think Scooby Doo's a fucking.
I don't.
And it works, you know. It's like the dog won't react to shit. It's like, hey, dog, do you smell something weird? No, there's no drugs here. No, must be legit. I think so. Alright, that was it. But there's that was one of the questions that I had about Scooby-Doo. The other ones were like their parents. What the fuck are their parents? And if they're in high school, how the fuck are they just traveling to all these places by themselves, you know?
I don't know, honestly. It's kind of like Phineas and Ferb's Endless Summer. Like, they always said there were 104 days. But, like, there were way more than 104 of those days, bro.
No, there were a lot. Don't get me, bro. The conspiracy theories on Phineas and Ferb. Come on, those are cool.
I don't even want to bring it up.
There was one that I heard that it was all like Candace had gone fucking crazy.
Well, yeah.
Because they had died. Mm-hmm. I think because of her.
Well, the reason why their mom could never bust them was because they weren't actually there doing anything. It was just Candace's imagination of like their memories, I suppose.
Yeah. Like nobody ever seemed to believe her. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. It's crazy if that is what it is. Like, there's a lot of cartoons that you could say that have these stories, but like hers made definite sense. Like, you know what makes even more sense? I don't know if you watched the movie, but in the movie was actually pretty scary. Like, it was all a dream about how she finally caught them, like mom finally caught them, and they were sent to boarding school, and so they disappeared, you know, from her life. And she then woke up and they were still there, you know, and it was all good, and she was like all loving to them or whatever. So the theory is like, wow, what if that dream symbolized like, you know, them, like, they got caught, you know, they went away, and now she had them out of their life, like she didn't want to lose them again.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's pretty deep. Or maybe it could just be like we're trying to overcomplicate stuff. But I definitely think that there's something interesting over there to explore, without a doubt. The next thing that we wanted to show... Oh, okay, this is the next thing. So, I can start with it that one of my morning routines every single morning has been to water the plants. It starts at like 7:30, and then some of them I need to water at like 8, just because different plants get lighting at different times, depending on when they are in the house.
We have poor lighting areas.
Well, we don't have poor lighting, like, honestly, like, for those who can see.
It's
like,
decent,
I'm about
but
to burn
it's
this. Like, look at this. We have light, but
but it's only there in the early afternoon.
And in the kitchen, there's not so much. And those are the plants. Like, you can see them. These are like a tenth of our plants. And, well, I water them every morning, whatever. I like it. I've grown up with my mom. You know, she always loved having a lot of plants, and she always loved talking. Like, she told me, like, if you put music for them and you talk to them, you know, like, not start talking to your parents, but you tell them, hey, good morning or whatever, like, they like that stuff, and they will grow bigger. And I didn't, you know, I grew up believing that, and then it turned out, like, a lot of studies actually showed that that was true, but whatever, I'm deviating. Lately, you know, because of all this crazy quarantine and stuff, I've been a lot more involved in learning about plants, about trees, about, you know, all those kinds of things. And, you know, we're all undergoing these crazy changes, so we're all trying to find our thing again, and, you know, might be a phase or whatever, but having plants around the house, and I'm very thankful, you know, that you have done that. Having plants around the house has made me realize just how incredible the process of a plant is. Like, we planted a little seed, and then it grew into this whole plant, and you get to see all its stages and all of, like, you know, you water it every day, and you learn its phases with the sun, and you learn how to, like, adapt to it, and you learn to see its patterns, and it's beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
And I just think that, wow, I never got into these things when they were very present in my life, like biology. Biology class for me was, like, dreadful. I hated it because I had to learn about fucking plants from a textbook.
I had a brief
It's like learning,
class.
it's just like learning medicine from a textbook, and that's it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you go, tell me.
I had a brief biology class, and we didn't have much like plant learning in that class. And then from there, you could pick like other science classes that you wanted to take. So I ended up taking like marine science and stuff like that to make it more interesting. So I never really learned that much about plants. I just kind of always had an intuition about it.
Yeah.
I would always just kind of have a feeling of like, oh yeah, this plant needs more water. Or no, that plant needs just a little less water.
Yeah.
Or like you can tell when a plant is going to be able to recover its leaf or when it's like not, and you should just cut it off.
Yeah, like we try to leave some of our plants with some water, like an automatic irrigation system. The last time when we left to like go on holiday, and when we came back, well, it was just like failing from the beginning because it was definitely designed for like bigger plants where the exact quantity of water didn't really matter, you know, like you could overwater them, but this ones were like small pots and it would drip so much more water than we needed, and we were scared that it was going to like water the plants, and so we made it go into 2 other bowls where, you know, we kind of like split the water so it would kind of like hopefully water the plants enough, and then it didn't end up watering the plants enough and they were about to die, and then we watered them and then like we recovered them and we were like, wow, I couldn't believe, like they were looking like that's it, like they were done.
They were dried up, they were wilted.
And they're like, well, they're blooming right now. Yeah, it's crazy.
Healthier than they've ever been. We almost put them into like a health shock. It was pretty cool because now they're even stronger.
Yeah, they're so much stronger, and it's like, it's interesting. We kind of condition them, right?
Yeah.
Like now whenever they get water, you know, and we put them on a strict like diet on water in the morning and late afternoon onlys, and very like small amount of water, and then always around the edges so the roots grow out, you know. And you just like, I don't know, you go along with it, you see what works. How many fucking succulents didn't we kill already? Like way too many.
Well, that was because of our
like
2
4 or 5, you know.
That was because we left in hopes of was staying for a week, and we stayed for an extra week.
Well, no, we were gonna stay for like 4 days, 5 days.
That's true.
And then we were gonna be stay a week,
2 weeks
and then we ended up staying 2 weeks, and our succulents died. Some.
So I bought like a 24 count of succulents.
This one, as you see, it was dead here, and then this little dude sprouted. And for those who are not seeing, you know, it's a pity. You should just go on the YouTube channel and watch this. Yeah. But look at it. It's sprouting again. It's very nice.
That also needs to be maintained. We need to get those dead leaves off.
Yeah, you gotta get it off. And then, but it still sprouts, you know, like a plant finds this way of like the cycle of a plant is what interests me the most, you know.
Yeah.
And going back to, like I told you in biology class, they just told me like, oh yeah, this is photosynthesis, and then learn how the cells go through the walls. I'm like, okay, this is really, really cool. But teach me about like the process of a plant within its environment. Like, what is the bigger picture? Because I feel like all these school books go into detail about the fucking plants, like, and how they reproduce and all that. And they seldom give us the proper education as to how a plant is crucial within its environment, or how a plant cycle can affect the environment around it, the wildlife around it. And those that do usually do it from a textbook. There's very few schools who can afford to have like a fucking farm or whatever, vertical farm, or like their own little farm or garden where they can raise the plants, and each one of the kids can like take care of it and learn, you know, or take it home. Like I understand that that's hard, you know.
Yeah.
But fuck, what the fuck is the money? Where the fuck is the rest of the money that it's supposed to fund this thing going into, you know? So that's what I'm saying. Like when I took biology class, fuck biology, man. I fucking hated biology. And the teacher that we had, like, you know, tried real hard to make us like it, but it was just so boring. I found it very boring at that point because it was not shown to me, you know, the cycle of the plant was not shown to me. And I was like, now that I bought a plant, I'm forced to learn it, and I'm forced to learn maybe stuff that's not about reproduction or how it, like, they reproduce or whatever, but it's definitely more about, hey, wow, a plant that's so important and it's so resilient, you know, and different plants and what they need, you know. It's like adapting to nature. You learn about nature, you know, through a plant.
Yeah, I mean, with the differences in your education and mine, I'm definitely noticing.
Yeah, what did you learn?
I'm definitely noticing the lack of successful education system in America, I suppose.
Yeah.
there's things that you know about America that I've never heard before in school ever.
Really?
And like I was a decent student. Like I was average.
Yeah.
A couple C's here and there, mostly A's and B's. Like it is whatever. But there's some.
Well, were you like a good test taker?
I had like some type of test anxiety where I would like speed the fuck through it. Yeah. Where I would like, regardless, I would just, I'd be the first one done, and they would be like, "No, go sit down. You have to spend more time on that." I'm like, but I'm done.
Yeah.
And I'd finish just because I had so much anxiety with the test that my mindset would just be like, I just want to get this shit over with, just do it, just get it over with and be done.
Yeah.
Because I had so much test anxiety that like my brain was like, just do it, just do it as fast as you fucking can so that you have as little time taking this test as possible.
Yeah.
So that's why I hated like SAT and ACT, because like you actually had to spend the time on the question.
Dude, the SAT took like what, 4 hours and a half, 5 hours?
Something like that.
Crazy fucking exam, bro. What's
they wouldn't
the
even
point
let you eat.
Anyways, like what was your biology experience like?
Biology.
Or you said or your overall education, because you said that I know some stuff about America that you didn't.
Well, there's plenty of stuff that you know that I've never heard of in my life. Like, I forget. There's a lot of stuff about American history that you like automatically.
Did you know about Roe versus Wade before all of the topic of abortion started?
Honestly, I remember hearing the name.
Yeah.
But I don't ever remember the teacher actually discussing what it was about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't ever remember talking about abortion in high school ever.
So.
Ever. Aside from, like, if a classmate was getting one. You know?
I definitely see what you mean. For me, I attribute, I have to give credit where credit is due. I attribute a lot of my curiosity and my critical thinking to a few of my teachers in from middle school into high school and even university. But my base, my foundation, that in middle school, high school, that's when it was formed. Like my social studies teacher, Mr. Hendricks, and my also my history teacher, Miss Wynn. They were like different, but one of them taught me like critical thinking. Like I came from an Eastern European country, and then he was like talking to me about critical thinking and like thinking about stuff from different points of view and within the environment and within the whole context of things. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then Miss Wynn taught me to like always question things. She taught me to always like look at all the different possibilities. And she tried to teach us a version of the U.S. history that was somewhat fair. Like, yeah, we did have to follow a certain textbook that was mandated by the fucking program, but she would always make sure to accompany it with articles that made us like question our what we read in the history book. Like certain things about the truth about black history in the United States and the truth about activism and all of that. Like, she generated a space where, you wouldn't just tolerate news as what it is. Like, it's because of her that I never fucking trust news. It's because she showed us, like, no matter where you go, you're gonna find bias and, like, understand what bias is. And she has taught me about Roe versus Wade, and I'll never forget it, because it was, like, it was one of the cases that we had to learn for our final exam. And I remember that she made me learn in a way that it wasn't just memorizing stuff, but it was like knowing the importance of it. And that's why I remember Roe versus Wade, because she stressed the importance of it, because it gave women their right to their bodies,
Yeah. See, like,
and so I learned. I learned about U.S. history from within the point of context, like of importance. Everything for me was important. It was very important to learn about the United States because I was gonna move there. So it impacted me, this kind of cases, there was plenty of other cases that I don't remember, but Roe versus Wade stayed with me,
Yeah. See, like, I remember talking about the names.
Yeah.
Like, I remember talking about that specific court case and that specific, like, rule, but I don't ever remember actually discussing what it meant or, like, what it was. And there's plenty of instances where I guess I missed it.
Yeah.
Or something happened where I just wasn't. I don't know. There's stuff that you know that I don't. That I should know. that I just never learned. Like
what should we know? What are some things that we should learn in schools?
Here I am sitting here with an absentee ballot.
Tell us what happened the last time.
Well, the last time I tried to vote in, I believe it was 2016.
You're basically one of the percentage of the votes that didn't count last time.
So my vote didn't count because I had messed up my absentee ballot because there's like multiple envelopes and such.
Yeah.
And nobody had ever explained the process to me before, so I was just going about it, and I would put my ballot in the envelope, getting ready to ship it, and then like there's this second envelope, and it said, put this in the envelope.
They make it so unnecessarily difficult to...
Do not put anything else in the envelope but this envelope or some bullshit like that.
Such a bad user experience.
And I had already sealed the other envelope, and so you can't just rip it open because then your envelope is just invalid.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, well, fuck it then. So now I'm sitting here with an absentee ballot, not knowing who to vote for just because I was never taught as to, like, the logistics of the voting system, basically. Like, if I vote for one of the majority, either way we get a shitty president.
Yeah.
But if I vote for one of the minority, like, candidate-wise, there's less of a chance, it's less likely of a chance that my vote's going to get counted for something just because it's a minority candidate, you know? And I'm not saying minority in a race sense. It's like minority as in like majority minority.
Do you wanna know something? I've started hating every single conversation that leads to politics for some reason. And you know, I used to like pretend like I didn't like it, and then I liked it. Like I like it when people brought it up, especially from America. Like my favorite pastime used to be getting people from America to engage in a political conversation with me, and their preconceived notion is that I don't know shit about it, and the truth is I know not a lot about it, but I do know a lot more than, you know, somebody in my position like an immigrant could know. And they used to be my favorite pastime because they would like try to like talk me down, and they'll be like, hey, I know the kind of bullshit you're trying to pull. But right now, whenever you like, for example, you know, you're talking about ballots, and you're like, yeah, a fucking vote right now for the incorrect person
is detrimental.
It's very hard. It's from a point of view of like maths, like every single possibility is wrong. It's just trying to like bet on the odds on which one's going to. It's like trying to be like, okay, if we elect this dude, this, and this is going to happen, which is going to lead to this, and this, and possibly this, and this. You have to be every single person in the United States has to be super analytical about it, and even then, none of that could matter.
But nobody ever talked to us about how analytical you have to be. Like, yeah, I learned about the parties, and I learned...
Yeah, depending on when you went to school, on which state you were Republican or Democrat.
Yeah, I learned the basic economic system, but most everybody... I've always, like... It wasn't ever, like, directly told to me as a direction, but it was always just assumed that we should all just vote like our parents vote.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you don't know who to vote for? Just ask your mom who they vote for and vote for them.
In Europe, it's like, you know, whatever your dad's soccer team is, that's your motherfucking soccer team.
Well, yeah.
Like, I had my initial soccer team in Romania, you know, was opposing my dad's favorite soccer team, and he gave me a hard time and for a year until I switched to his, and then he was like happy about it. Bro, it's crazy. It's fucking crazy, but it's the same here, you know? Yeah, what did your parents vote? Yeah, that's what you're supposed to vote too. And this is for the first time when I think that the kids are starting to not vote like their parents at all.
It's
or a lot of them.
Because we were raised differently. We were raised on a more like empathetic path, you know? I'm
just so not looking forward to anything that's happening, and this is why I hate bringing politics up, because it kind of kills the mood, because like I don't care for politics. I think discussing politics is stupid, but I just hate the effect that it has on everyone else's culture and interaction. Like, it's gonna be so fucking awkward all month of November to interact with anyone that's opposing your views.
Yeah.
And even worse, most of the people don't know what their views align with. Like, do you understand people that used to even have a sense of identity because they could identify with the party. They could not even identify with the party anymore. Like, they're like completely losing their self of identity, and they're having a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
They don't know who to vote for, and this is gonna be some crazy shit. And I think, like, honestly, from the depth of my heart, I still believe that every single vote in America, like, it's counted and it's fairly counted. But the process of getting those votes and getting people to vote, that's where I think America's, like, best at maneuvering, you know, the way you guys vote.
Yeah.
When we were talking about this, like, I think we can openly talk about it. Like, there's a line that says, you know, there's a witness that has to be next to you when you vote. Mm-hmm. It doesn't specify what kind of witness or whatever, but who's not to say, and I'm getting myself in trouble, but I don't give a fuck. I honestly don't. Who's to say that maybe my views that in that day that I was next to you wouldn't influence the candidate that you're going to choose?
That's true.
I'm an immigrant. I'm somebody from outside. And I told him, I don't give a shit about this. Like, asking me about it, I think the amount of time that we spend, me and her, talking about politics is like, I think 1% in a week, and that's just because some fucking stupid tweet from Trump or some other stupid, like, Biden thing. Like, I don't know. It's just always to mock it. It's never to, like, talk about it seriously. So I'm not trying to interfere, but imagine. It's very easy. Like, a lot of countries can get, like, the whole voting process in the way it's going to be with ballots and sending ballots and then voting in person. I think that shit's going to be fucked up. It's going to be very hard. Imagine going to vote in person and then getting an absentee ballot in another state. And whatever. You can do that kind of shit, and it's going to be very hard to check all of it. And it's going to take months to check all of it. And then for that amount of time, the government's going to be shut down again.
Well, what I was trying to figure out is, like...
Or maybe not. Don't quote me on that. I don't know exactly what's going to happen.
So there are plenty of people...
Don't fucking cancel me. Sorry.
There are plenty of people, like, voting absentee, like, within their own state just because of the COVID situation.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm concerned about is that if I'm going to go to one of the absentee ballot boxes and put my South Carolina ballot in there, is it going to get filtered out? Like, is it going to get grabbed and say, oh, this is a South Carolina one, and get sent to South Carolina to be counted there? Or, like, is it going to be so careless that I should try and make sure that I get it to a South Carolina ballot box, you know?
I don't know.
You see?
Were you ever fucking thought that?
No, I don't know.
Or you thought that to... The way you talked about it is you never thought how to, like, get your credit or rent a fucking apartment for the first time or whatever.
I don't know how to do my taxes.
Do your taxes?
I don't know.
File taxes correctly. Apart, you get a W-2 and you're like, scan this for me and do it.
No clue how the process of buying a car works. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Let me tell you.
I do not know
something funny about that.
How buying a car works. Like, I do in a way, but I don't.
Me neither. So
I really don't.
I went on my sophomore year. I went to a car dealership for a car that I really wanted to buy. I tested it. It was very nice. I think it was like something like 15 grand total. Mm-hmm. And obviously I was not gonna pay it all down. I wanted to pay it over months, right? Like one does. Like one has heard their parents do over the time. Mm-hmm. I test drive it, you know, like whatever. Yeah, super sick. We arrived back, so he's like, do you want it? I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. And I'm like, I want to pay it over months. And he's like, okay, what's your credit? And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean, what's my credit? I don't know. I don't have credit. I'm like, dude, here's my fucking credit card. Just fucking take money out of it every year, every month, or whatever you need, you know? And he was like, but you need credit for that. Like, we cannot just, like, give you the car without it. And I was like, okay. And he was like, anyways, we can find a way around that, but what about insurance? And I was like, what about it? Like, what the fuck? What about fucking insurance, bro? I'll get it. What is it, like $100 or something? He's like, yeah, no, the car you're looking for, it was a sports car, okay? But it was at a good deal, whatever. He's like, the sports car you're looking for has a hefty price. You're a 20-year-old male, from another country with no credit, no driving history in the United States, and your license is less than a year old, you're gonna have to pay a lot. And I'm like, okay, what's a lot? And you're like, you're gonna have to pay $4,000 every 6 months. You're gonna have to pay $8,000 for this car total insurance. I was like, you're bullshit. Like, that's bullshit, right? Like, you cannot tell me that in 2 years I'm gonna pay my fucking car worth in insurance. Like, you cannot tell me that that concept is just okay in the United States. And it fucking was. Some people paid that amount of money for their car. Yep. And I didn't know that. And I was like, bro, fuck this. I don't even need a car. That's why we ride Lime scooters. But yeah, I'm sure that, you know, in the United States, you know, you start with your parents, hopefully being able to, like, buy your car because, you know, they have, like, lower insurance, they have good credit, whatever, and then you can eventually, like, buy your own. But it's very fucking hard.
I still haven't bought my own car. And there's also sexism against it as well. If I were to go in by myself to a car dealership to go buy myself a car, they're gonna try and, like, trick me, basically. They're gonna try and fool me into buying, like, the most expensive car, but the most, like...
Wait, really? Why?
Because I'm a woman. Because they don't think women know about cars. It's a typical thing. It happened in episode of New Girl. Remember, Jess wanted to buy a car.
Yeah.
She was emailing with the dealer, and then she had to go pick it up and sign the papers in person. But when she originally was, like, seeking out the car dealership, she reached out as Jess, and the guy, like, wouldn't let her buy the car that she wanted. He would only try and, like, upsell her this other car because he would just tell her that, like, he knows best and that she doesn't know what she's buying, and that he knows cars better and shit. And so, like, it's...
That's fucking stupid.
As dramatized as it was on the show...
You think that's real? Like, are you basing all of that based on
or you could
like...
go ask Lindsay. It happened the same way with her when she bought her car. It's just a
thing.
Did
they just try to upsell her something else?
Yeah. And yeah, that's going to happen with every salesman, but, like, specifically car salesmen and stuff, it's just, I don't know, they think that they know more than you, and they think that they're better than you, and they're going to try and trick you into the most expensive car that gets them the most
I think
money.
Car salesmen are the most aggressive salesmen.
Yeah.
After, I will even, no, maybe, I think they're at battle and at stalemate with the fucking skincare boutique vendors at the mall. The ones in the middle, you know, the ones that are like supposed to be good for your skin. So let me tell you, I got tricked by those so many fucking times because I'm an idiot. 3 times in my life I bought cream that was priced at over $65 like an idiot with money that I had saved because I was like, yeah, that's definitely gonna get rid of my acne. I'm not saying it wasn't good, but it was honestly doing the same shit that this what's the name of the brand that we use? The one that not Burt's Bees, not even Neutrogena. Neutrogena is like the expensive one. The fucking generic brand acne cream would do the same exact thing for $4, and I paid $65 in hopes that it would do something more. I was a fucking idiot, and I've done that. So people have tried to sell me cars, but I guess, like, I haven't bought cars because I couldn't in the United States. But I don't know who's more of an aggressive salesman. Fucking, they're so aggressive, the car salesmen. They're like,
well, so there was one time...
They're like, they paint a life for you, and they're like, this is the life you could live if you had this car, you know? And they're like, bro.
There was one time at the mall, I was wearing, like, beat-up white Converse, right?
Yeah.
They were, like, nasty white Converse. They were basically gray.
Yeah.
And I was with my ex at the time or whatever. And this guy was a shoe shining, or he had some kind of chemical concoction or whatever to clean dirty shoes.
Yeah.
I was trying to say no, and then my ex said yes because he wanted his shoes cleaned. But since the salesman saw
I would have said yes too.
Well, yeah, but since the salesman saw how nasty my shoes were, he insisted on doing mine. So he takes his little magic cleaning cream and scrubs out one of my white Converse, literally from almost black to perfectly white again. Like,
wow.
crazy crazy.
They got away. They make some lesser
he
known potions together.
He wouldn't do the other shoe unless I bought the cream.
So how much would it be?
And I didn't. It was $130.
What the fuck?
And I was like, bro.
So you walked around with one dirty Converse and one clean Converse?
I didn't even ask you to clean this. Clean the other one. And so for a while, I walked around with one clean shoe and one dirty shoe because he wouldn't clean the other shit. My ex wouldn't buy the cleaning shoe shit to clean my other shoe.
It's like, fuck
I didn't
you,
care enough to buy it. And
did he also get only one of his shoes?
No, he didn't clean his shoes. He
At
just
all?
cleaned my shoe. Just the one shoe.
So you went
and like,
to your
if I
boyfriend
were
and
to go
staying
grab,
for you.
if I were to go
As
grab,
one does.
Stop.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to go grab those shoes right now, you'd still be able to see the white and the gray. You would. You'd still be able to see the difference.
The ones that we have over there.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be crazy. But yeah. What about I had something else that we had to talk about. Oh, okay. So this happened like a week ago, a couple of weeks ago. But they announced that the new Amazon product. It's a drone. It's like a security drone that you leave in your house, and whenever it detects that there's something in your house when you're not home, this drone just like fucking pops out and flies around your house, and it like tries to detect who's in the house and like has a camera, and it will instantly like send you a live stream of it, and it will try to like, detect if there's anyone in your house, point the camera at them and whatever is like surveillance. But this thing can just do that, and it can do rounds as well. Like sometimes it can just like up and like scan the whole house to make sure everything's fine.
Yeah, no thank you.
How fucking crazy is that? Like it's so cool, but god damn, like you just like let me just scoop through your house.
I'll check my own house.
Suddenly Google Maps has your house. Like you can go into your house and you can check around your house if you want to.
I will check my own house. Thanks.
That's crazy, right?
I don't want that.
Oh, okay. And the second crazy thing about Amazon too was the new Amazon Echo processes what you say to it. Like you can learn, like she can learn so many distinctive noises. Like it can recognize sounds like your dog barking, your partner snoring, baby crying. Like not only tell that it's different people, but also tell what their activities are, and it will also know what you mean rather than what you say. So like sometimes how we tell it like, hey, can you play me a playlist from, I don't know. Sometimes we ask it certain things that Alexa can definitely not handle, and she's like, I don't know that. Well, now she's going to be able to understand what you actually mean. So she's going to be able to understand, and she's also tapping into that knowledge locally. So she doesn't have to go and search for that on a server.
Yeah.
It's all there. So she automatically knows that. Mm-hmm. Not only does that allow for like offline capability, but the scary part is, how crazy is it that they have developed intuition? They know what you mean and not what you say. Like I have it highlighted in red in my notes. It's crazy.
It's not that they have developed it, it's that like
we have developed
them.
Yeah, exactly.
Intuition.
It's crazy. I don't know. I just find it like insane. That was like another thing on the order of.
I think it's expected.
I don't know. Do you think like what kind of future do you see? Like for example, right now, if you see her, like she's still sometimes looking to the right. Is that because we're waiting on our groceries to deliver? See, we're just like on the iPad. She's like, yes, I want this, and this, and then you're like, go do it for me, and then another human does it for you for like a relatively small fee compared to what you could pay somebody to do shit for you.
All I pay extra is the tip.
I feel like that's gonna happen. I feel like that's the future, like a lot of people. I had this conversation last time, but I feel like just like what's this show on Netflix that we're watching, Tuca and Birdie and Tuca, whatever. It's hilarious, and it's like a really cool show that shows a feminine side to the world, and it teaches you about what women have to go through. And it's very nice for even guys, like that want to learn more or whatever. It's just very nice, but it shows that one of them just does tasks, like random tasks. Like you go help people out, like come up with ideas. You go help people water their plants, or you drive somebody, or it's different things. Like, you're not nominated to a single job. You're not identified by a single job. You're not like, okay, I'm a copywriter and I'm not going to do anything else. No. And I feel like, yeah, people are going to start specializing in certain, like, particular tasks, and then everyone else is just going to be, like, making this task, you know? Like, there's going to be an app where you can just, like, see tasks, and you're like, okay, I can help somebody cook for tonight, you know? Like, I'm a cook, I can help cook. Yeah. And so it kind of gets all of these apps that are now, like, you know, I can deliver, I can cook, I can take somebody home. All of these tasks are gonna be, like, decentralized from apps, and everybody's gonna be able to do it. It's gonna be like a public thing where you can just access, go help someone in WhatsApp.
Yeah.
That would be something that's not so bad. Like, if you think about it, it will, like, kind of separate this idea that every single industry will be its own thing, and it will still be like that, but I feel like everybody will be able to help in different ways, and everybody's gonna be more involved into the community, and, you know, whatever. It'd be like, imagine you could be rewarded $10 for going and planting a tree, or planting a seed, taking care of it, and, you know, like, growing certain plants and exchanging them for, like, dollars, you know. It could be like, you know, it could be another app, for example, that you just start your own little farming, you know. Like, if you have a garden in your backyard and you have, like, some produce, you can eventually sell that for a certain amount of money, like a little amount of money, like a side income, you know, for people that want to eat, like, super locally produced stuff, you know.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, which one of my neighbors has peppers or whatever, and you go to their house, you pick them, you know. I feel like it's gonna become something like that. I feel like we're gonna get super artificial uses of technology, like virtual reality, where everyone's gonna be in another world, but we're also going to get this kind of benefit of technology and communication, where people are going to use technology to find locally sourced ingredients, materials, and services.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes we hinder those kind of communications with our locals because we don't know what our neighbors are up to, apart from the neighbors that surround us. You know, many times we're not that involved in the community, and this is an easy way that doesn't involve directly speaking to anybody, but just like, hey, oh shit, my neighbor has peppers and I have bananas, maybe we can even barter or whatever. Like, bananas is a bad example, but, like, I grow this kind of special pepper, you know, and he grows this kind of thing. Like, it could even be barter, you know. You could propose a barter, you could propose, like, money. I don't know, this is a free idea. Somebody can turn it into shit. Like, I don't care. Like, do it. It would be cool. You know, I think this would be something interesting. Like, I believe that that's what the future kind of looks like.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like, what would you like to see in the future? Like, what some uses of technology that you think that we could have? And if you don't have anything, that's totally cool, but, you know, I just want to pick your brain.
I agree with you. I think we should try and, like, not get rid of our economy, but kind of, like, dissolve the economy to a way that we can, that everyone has a role and everyone has, like, there are, like, I wish there was a way that we could just dissolve the class system as well. That's what
everyone calls, like, that's what everyone calls basically, like, socialism.
Yeah, I mean, but not in the way where, like, we have to take.
No, I don't give a shit. You
not,
can.
No, I know, but, like, not in the way that we need to, like, take from the rich and give to the poor. In more in a way where, like.
Well, that's yeah.
Where, like, us small ones down here have more access to be able to provide, I suppose, in a way where, like.
We're not even low. Like, we're not even in the low.
No, I know that.
We're young, like, at the beginning,
that's
entry
what I mean.
level.
Is, like, we should be able to, like, try more things, and it should be able to be more malleable, which, like, we should have more opportunities to, like, I don't know, we should be doing, like, vertical farming in the cities so that we don't lose our nature, you know?
Yeah.
Because the nature's so important. But other than that, I don't have much. Just because I agree with you in the sense that we need to, like, start a trading system. And, like, I don't think we need to have an economy with big businesses anymore. Like, I know that we need them and they're necessary to keep everything afloat, but, like, they're hurting everything more than they're helping anybody.
Right?
You know?
And I also believe that they're making a very, like, I think a piece of paper or number. definitely hinders and definitely like reduces the amount of truth in every single value. And I know that sounds very stupid, but what I'm saying is $100 can mean this many apples, or $100 can mean 2 headphones. Yeah. But within another transaction, 2 headphones could buy you this many other apples that are a different kind of apple. Like, what I'm saying is, like, everyone uses the same kind of currency to trade very different aspects of life and services. Like, you know, you go and buy money for apples, bananas, and whatever, and then you're gonna eat them, right? But then people use that same amount of money to buy something else, and we're not exchanging something for something else, we're just gaining, and every time it's about gaining.
Well, that's a part of
the
human,
or losing, depends how you want to see it, you know.
It's part of the human like flaw.
Yeah,
is that we're too greedy. There's a greed in us that doesn't exist in the animal kingdom as much, like it does when it comes to like mating and stuff, for like gorillas or something like that. But we're the only species that like uses greed to an extent of like harm.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Well, I also believe that just like in general, if we could just raise everybody, and I'm not saying like the people that have a job are like, there's a lot of people that we need to fill those jobs, you know, like there's people that need to like run customer service, and there need people that need to do that. But I think that this fact that, you know, there's companies that hire you to do that or whatever, I think that's what's going to eventually dissolve over time.
Yeah. Like,
I feel like jobs are not going to be held by companies anymore. They're going to be held by the overall society. And again, these are like, they can be considered socialist views, and I don't care. I'm just saying, like, hey, this is a way that maybe things could go. Mm-hmm. They could also go in another way where only like private business is going to be able to provide jobs from now on. And everyone's gonna have, like, it could be whatever, but I'm just saying, hey, this is a cool way it could work. And like we were saying, barter and trading thing for another would increase this like sense of sharing, sense of community, you know, because you gotta make sure that your neighbor's doing well, because you're gonna want their apples, and they want you to do well because they're gonna need you to provide them the cow for their meat and their milk.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end of the season, you know, you're gonna get like 100 baskets of apples, and they're gonna get their 3 cows or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And you've agreed upon that, and nobody else in the world can tell you what those 2 values mean. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You and that person decide in that moment what that value means. That is what true fucking capitalism, or whatever they want to call it, is. It's not having to depend on a currency, because one day $1 can buy you a bread, and the next day it could buy you a slice of bread in some countries. Whereas you and another person could agree on delivering each other the same kind of paper or the same kind of goods, and agreeing upon that. That's what I'm aiming towards. Mm-hmm. I don't care what economical belief or what societal belief that is. I just think that, hey, it's worth a fucking shot. Let's see, maybe that works well, because what we've been doing until now, it's clearly separating the rich and the poor. But that's never gonna happen until people are gonna realize that there's more to life than just self-success and rolling in billions and power, you know. And that's easy to say when you don't have it, you know. Like you're entry-level workers, you know, in the society. Dude, maybe it's the shit. Maybe it's really worth it. I don't know. But I believe that if there's a way for us to like kind of distribute stuff more equally to everybody, while also providing a place for everybody to compete. I'm not saying give everybody the same in participation trophies. Mm-hmm. Make everybody want to compete, but give certain basic needs to everyone. I think that everybody would increase their productivity.
Yeah.
No, I think that's crazy. Alright, the last thing I want to leave you on today is a little thing that I read, and I told you about in the book before, where I actually want to bring it, because I don't want to just say a book. I want to like actually say which one it is. So this is one of the books on my rotation. It's called Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert B. Cialdini. I don't know. I'm sorry for butchering the name. His PhD. And it's basically, it's about influence. And he has this passage over here. I'm not gonna read it. It says, when a male animal acts to defend his territory, for instance, it is the intrusion of another male of the same species that cues the territorial defense. But there is a quirk in the system. It is not the rival male as a whole that is the trigger. It is some specific feature of him, the trigger feature. Often, the trigger feature will be just one tiny aspect of the totality that is the approaching intruder. So sometimes this trigger thing will be just one little thing in their whole appearance, personality, their whole existence. It's one little thing. Sometimes a shade of color is the trigger feature. That's it. Sometimes a shade of color is the trigger feature. Now, I wanted to talk about this because the world is hot right now on racism and on understanding what the fuck is going on with people that simply cannot see people of color as their equals and cannot treat them as equals. Mm-hmm. It is interesting to see that it is something that is an animal instinct within us. Like, we see a certain quality in another person that's going to completely make us distrust them. I just think that as humans we take that to like a more complex level. Like, sometimes, you know, there's something off about a person. I don't know, something they say, the way they speak, the way they look at you. But I think like on a more primal level, color of skin is definitely somewhere impregnated on our minds and our like tribal heads. Hey, this is different to you. God fucking knows what happened to my ancestors 1,000 years ago that might make me want to be scared of it. And I'm not, you know, I'm not like that. But like somebody else could. Mm-hmm. Who knows?
Yeah.
So an animal would flip out, and then the book goes on to say, for like example, like robins, you know, that have like a red feathered hair, like they will attack each other. They will even attack like a clump of red and black feathers. But if you make a perfect replica of a robin and just omit the red feathers, the robin will be completely fine with it. Mm. So you could get the same person, black person or white person, that do the exact same things, and just take a black person, whatever they do, and then don't tell the other person that they're black. The person will be like greatest person in the world. Once you show them that they're black, they'll change their opinion on them. That's being racist. Based on, you've changed your opinion on somebody based on their color, right? You like don't see them as an equal, right? Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a primal animal instinct. Mm-hmm. And I feel like there's ways that we can change that, and we can like help everybody understand that, hey, this is a mechanism that's been installed in your brain for generations now. And you can say, yeah, I feel like, you know, I'm okay with black people. I'm okay with any kinds of people, no matter what color skin they are. But once you interact with them, or once it comes to like their rights and their place in the society, you take a different stance. That's what I'm talking about. You're still like scared by their existence.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like a lot of the racism that is going on is nothing but a prime instinct of of the animal brain, and people have to stop doing that. It's not correct, you know. I feel like they need to. It's not an excuse, you know. I feel like as a whole, as a community, there has to be like some certain level of understanding that, you know, it's not only about the black lives, it's about the minorities in general that we see as a threat, you know, immigrants, everything, you know. Right now I know that the black people are like the current focus, and I'm not trying to take away from that, but I still believe that we don't have to forget about other people that we've been fighting in the past, you know. Mm-hmm. And I just think it starts with having a conversation, you know. That's what I'm doing all this for. Like, I just feel like with a simple conversation we could get people talking about, hey, you're different than from me, and I don't understand that, and it's gonna take me a while to understand that, and he's gonna understand, like, there's certain things that I think about you because I was raised the way I was raised, and because of interactions that I might have had. Yeah. But maybe you're different. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if we can open that kind of conversation at the end of the day, that's probably the best thing that we can do. In general. You know, without having to choose a political party, without having to choose a fucking political candidate on your ballot. This is the way you can fucking go out and help.
couldn't have said it better myself.
So yeah, thank you once more for coming on this show. Like, I feel like every day I'm learning. Like, I know that every day I'm learning from you, and every single time you come on here, I hear stuff from you, and the reason why I can talk about all this stuff is not because I know shit, but it's because you inspire me to do so. For real. So, I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you, everyone. This has been the 4th episode. I promise there's gonna be more and more and more. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. It's just a help. It's just something to help continue. If you also have a product or anything that you'd like to show on here, there's not a lot of people that are listening, but you're probably gonna get it for very free right now. Like, I don't know, for the next episode I'll plug your brand for free. Thank you for joining us. I hope you have an incredible week, and I'll see you on the next episode, which is gonna be super interesting. Incredible guest. I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for coming.
Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.
See you next time.